ended up sitting down and listening to Frank during breakfast over there. Also, some of us had breakfast, and Frank gave a little sermon on formation flying to everybody, and that took a good hour and a half. But he wanted to make sure everybody was, going to be real safe on this 9 shift that we were going to fly over.
The most important thing here is safety. I want it to look cool, but it's not going to be cool if we have an accident or a problem.
So it was nice. It was a real good presentation. We had a big board there, and he was drawing everything on there. Gave everybody their number or call sign number to, that when he called your number, or started the call, everybody in the line, answered their number to say that they understood what we were doing next.
So the plan was the next morning we would take a 9 shift. Well, we were hoping for more than 9, but the way it turned out, it was going to be a 9 shift, because anybody that wanted to fly in a formation from Suffolk to Manio in the morning to kind of open the festivities had to be at my briefing, my safety briefing, at 7 a.m. in the restaurant. If you were late, you didn't fly in the formation. It was pretty much that simple. The issue there was simply safety. You can't take 9 guys or 10 guys or whatever it would turn out to be and expect to fly any kind of decent formation, especially guys that haven't done it before, and safely into an area where there's going to be a lot of traffic and a lot of potential hazards. So, if you weren't at the briefing at 7, you didn't fly with us. Luckily, Jay Blum, he had made it in. The flight line, it was fog, and it was actually quite beautiful, but he somehow landed and he taxied, and I was very excited because I fly with Jay an awful lot. We fly in air shows together as often as possible, and when we can't fly in them, we do static displays and pretty much explain the routine designs to the best of our abilities. And it's very fun, it's a great time. Very rewarding to pass on some of that to people. Jay actually flies lots of young eagles. We just both love sharing the dream with people as much as possible. So anyway, I was real excited to see Jay make it on time, because him and I, we don't even really speak on the radio when we fly together. It's all hand signals. We've done it a lot, enough to know what the other guy's going to do. Again, it was beautiful. Hey, buddy, you're here. Thank God, my wingman. Unfortunately, Kerry and Carol Fritz showed up just a little late, probably about 7:15. They couldn't get in from the weather, so I couldn't fly them with us. They did lag. They stayed a couple miles behind the formation, but it was a shame. It would have been nice to have a 10 shift. So anyway, the formation was going to be race 20. That's us in the lead in our very easy, and with Jay on my right wing as number 2, and then Chris and Kevin Funk and their cozy on my left wing with the Defiant, Harry Manville and Steve Sorensen in our 4th position, and the plan was 2 diamonds. So in the lead diamond, it was the very easy, long easy, cozy, and Defiant nice mix, right? Well, the second flight was led by Beagle, and it was another diamond, and then on his left wing was Mark Zeitlin with Wayne Hicks as co-pilot, and then Cookie and his son Jesper on his right wing, and the cozy. And then Edgar Flagg is in the slot for that second diamond, which is number 8. And then we had a Berkut with us, Misha, and Richard Riley. And the problem is Berkut obviously is much faster than we were going to fly. I was only going to fly this whole thing at 130 knots. And the Berkut's stalling at 130 knots. So they were floaters. That's all they did, was they just floated around the formation. And we were briefed as such. And the plan would be, we'd fly down to Manio, and I would set us up on a 10-mile final for runway 5, and that's what we did. And the diamond with a trailing diamond, and then as we cross over the numbers, the Berkut would boogie on underneath us and pitch and land. As we cross over the approach end of 5, the Berkut's going to basically dive at the numbers. We will low approach underneath the formation, clear us. Go into work. He's going to land first, and we'd exit the air, egress around, come up in switch formations into basically echelon, is what it was, and then pitch for landing. And that was the plan, as briefed. The formation could have been a lot better, but really my concern was that it was safe, that nobody got hurt or lost or worse. And my goal was to take off with 9 guys and to land with 9 guys. That's what we did, and it worked beautifully. Now, back to Suffolk. We got out to the flight line that morning, and the sunrise was kind of interesting because it was masked. The actual orb was masked by the fog, but it made for some beautiful photography once again. Just one of those pure luck things. And that was kind of neat to see. And I wanted to make sure everybody was taking their time. I don't want anybody rushing, because I have seen too many times where people feel like they need to be there now, and they skip things and they miss steps, and this is when accidents happen. And that was part of my briefing. I made sure everybody was eating breakfast and relaxing and laughing. I was trying to keep the briefing jovial because I wanted them to enjoy it and not think they were being lectured.
It's not an 8-ship echelon. It's going to be like this.
Right. Oh, come on.
Huh? Yeah. Because I'll tell you what, if we did an 8-ship echelon, it'd look great. But I got to tell you what number 8 would be doing. It would look just like this.
Yeah.
That would be on that wing. It would be all. It's going to be bad enough with a 4-ship.
The whole idea of the entire thing was just to explain to them and to let everybody understand that this is not really a dangerous thing to do if you just do it with your brains, you think about it. So I explained some of the very basics to them. I said some of the hand signals because I knew people would get lost.
It's going to happen. Somebody's going to get lost. I'm
Got it.
going to go, easy flight check, 2, 3, and I'm not going to hear 4. Easy flight check, 2, 3. I'm going to go, and then at that point,
I'll chime in with the rest. 5.
Somebody's going to look at him because he didn't answer. Go.
I explained that I didn't want any chatter on the radios. I explained the only things they should be saying on the radios is their race number. And at one point I said, the only thing I want to hear out of you, and I pointed to Jay, and we brief this every time when we fly, I said, all I want to hear out of you is 2 or it leads you're on fire. And they got a laugh out of that. At one point, I even said, no rushing. There's absolutely no rushing at all. And Misha, being a Russian, said, but I'm Russian.
Take your time. No rushing. There is no rushing. Period. If you feel
Russian.
Huh? So once we get the tower 2, just sit there. Easy flight check. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Good. That's all I want to hear. All I want to hear out of Jay Blum is,
What about lead, you're on fire?
that's all I want to hear. Nothing but 2 or lead, you're on fire.
It was fine. I didn't mind any of that stuff in the briefing because it was a lot of the time, a lot of people were just kind of getting to know me, and I didn't want to come off, harsh either. So, but it was a really good briefing. It was enjoyable. It went well. So after breakfast and after the briefing was completed, we head out to the airplanes. I said, okay, everybody need about half an hour to get ready. Obviously, we'd been setting up the planes earlier too, but this was final checks. So what I did was I wanted everybody in order. I want them lined up on the tarmac in their flight order. In other words, I would be the first airplane, then Jay, and then Chris and Kevin, Harry and Stephen, so on, all the way down the line. This way, nobody had any thinking to do. All they had to do was follow the guy in front of them, do what everybody else was doing. So once everybody had their airplanes lined up, I made sure that everybody had set their altimeters to the field before we even got on the planes, set the proper frequency, and it's just little things like that. I just want to make sure that even the small things were taken care of. Because I knew none of the guys would really be worrying about navigating too much because that was my job. But if they got lost, part of their pre-flight was already done for them. And I thought that was important at the time, and I still think that those kinds of things are important. I walked down the line, checked with each crew, made sure everything was done. Look, kind of take a little look at their airplane, make sure it wasn't tied down anymore. Just little things. I didn't really mention these things at the time, but I was really looking for those kinds of things. I was expecting people to make mistakes like that, leaving a tool on their wing when they started the engine. Just little things. And I was just looking at that stuff. So we got the engine started right on time. Everybody checked in, and we started our elephant walk. And now, once we got down to the end, the weather had cleared significantly, and unfortunately, the airport started to become rather busy. But again, I couldn't rush the flight. I had to do everything by the numbers. I had to take my time doing it. And so I got everybody down at the EOR, end of runway, and in flight order. And then I actually taxied down the line and looked at each airplane. And I made sure the speed brakes were off. I didn't make them close their canopies yet until I started hitting back up the line. That was great. As I went down the line, I actually told Chris and Kevin, I said, put your brake up. You don't need it anymore, because who needs them taking off with their speed brake open? Then I turned around and came back up the line. Thumbs up to each guy. They give me a thumbs down. That's what we did. Each guy thumbs up. I just want to make sure everybody's ready.
Okay, as you
run their engines up.
check
the canopies. Check the brakes again. One last look at your numbers, and then I stopped and waited. I wanted them to be bored. I wanted them to say, "Geez, what's he doing? Let's go." I didn't want them going, "Hurry up, hurry up!" Worst thing in the world. So also had briefed that the only element departure would be Jay and I, because we had been doing it for a long time. A lot of times, I should say, a lot of times. And the weather and the runway, it was perfect for it, so we did it. Everybody else took off. As soon as the guy in front of them broke ground, they could roll. Right? It was never a conflict. Never a conflict on the runway at all, no matter what happened. So if the guy in front of them aborted, the second guy would never even start rolling. So we got airborne, and what we started was basically a 95-knot circle around the airfield, and a very wide, slow circle, which would allow everybody to basically lead turn the circle and join. And it took a while. It took about 3 or 4 circles around the field. And wouldn't you know it, just as we get this going, the parachutes. This guy's jumping at airplanes. Everybody and their brothers coming in for a $100 hamburger. It was kind of rough to lead a 9-shift through that. Trying to really control there's King Air coming in. Trying to really basically be an air traffic controller while you're trying to keep track of your chicks. So that's what I was doing. I was talking to different airplanes, trying to explain, okay, we have a 9-shift, we're 3 miles east of the field, we have try to get in here, do whatever you're doing. Anyway, it worked out. We finally got joined up, and call it a formation. It was safe. And actually, I thought we did pretty good until I saw some of the pictures that Ed took. It kind of changed my tune, but it's okay. Nobody got hurt, so we'll do better next time. So at any rate, we headed down to Manio, and we actually climbed up. We had to get over the top of Elizabeth City's airspace, which was like 2,500 feet, I think. And we did that. It was really a perfect flight. There was no problems at all. Nobody had any trouble. Nobody had to fall out. Nobody got lost. It went great. It went real well. We approached Manio. I finally got in touch with the tower, and they were expecting us. They knew what we were doing. And, we made our initial pass in the 2 diamonds that Coop did as briefed, and he ended up pitching and landing. Of course, the tower at this point got confused because he didn't realize that Misha was going to land first. So when Misha called, he called in his race 30 instead of easy 9. So the tower didn't realize he was part of the flight. Yeah, it got a little confusing. So we made our turn out, came back around, but now we were in our right echelon.
It was a right echelon, and we had to make a left-hand turn, so Frank told him there was no way we could do that in the condition, in the situation that we were in at the time.
I keep you advised that next flight of 9 is going to make another pass here.
9-10 uniform.
Race 20, you're going to make another pass to land?
Affirmative. Race 20 is flight's turning base now, and we'll be pitch out for landing.
All right, what I want you to do this time, I've got traffic coming in from the northwest. I want you guys to break right in our right traffic for landing.
Unable, sir. We're in our right echelon. It won't happen.
Okay. We'll plan on the left turn then.
Thank you.
And he obliged us, thank God. And we did that. Pitched, landed. after we rolled out, I had parked and waited for all 8 airplanes at this point. Remember, Misha had landed already. All 8 airplanes to land safely, and then we taxied in an elephant walk again.
You're down. Well, it went well. We did it.
Nice job, man.
Thanks. Wasn't too much work.
It was kind of neat. It was really interesting to taxi in like that, because when you see all these airplanes coming in one shot, it gets your attention. And it must have been a really pretty sight for some of the folks to see all these cars coming in together. And it was great to lead it, and it was I appreciate the fact that the guys trusted me to do it, and I hope to do it again sometime. I really don't know when that opportunity will rise. It was great.
So after the 9th shift to Matteo, we were flying formation, and I guess as we were flying along, we had some tape underneath the airplane come flying off, and Steve Sorensen was behind us. I guess he probably caught a few glimpses of the tape coming off. Before that, when Frank gave his briefing of the 9th shift formation, he said that he didn't want any chattering going on the air, you know, unless he was actually literally on fire. So we got back over to the airport and landed, and Steve had come up to me and he said, "Yeah, man," he says, "you guys had quite a bit of, looked like you had quite a bit of tape coming off the bottom of that airplane there, and you know, I wasn't sure if it was going through the prop or not." And I said, "Well, you know, you should have, why didn't you speak up and let us know?" He says, "Well, he wasn't on fire."
Well, that afternoon we did the speed trials, and the speed trials are, their intention was to actually, you get your pole position based on your speed. In each class, the guy that would have the best speed time would launch first, slowest to the rear. So when it came turn for my trial, I used the panel cam for this. I really hadn't used it much, just thought it might be some interesting footage, so I hooked it up and I did my speed trial, and it was really cool. One shot that I excuse me, one shot that I really didn't expect to get was just on departure. I just made my right turn to get into the pattern here for this, and I didn't really expect the way it came out on video, because you can see really the performance of it. I mean, easy. I mean, this is a 90 horsepower airplane. And it really kind of looks like a jet taking off from over my shoulder. And you see this airport peeling away. And this is right off the runway. And then come around in the right downwind, and then I get cleared to turn in, and I make my right turn, and I do my speed run. Well, after you make your run, you actually make a left turn to enter the left downwind to land. So I head out over the sound a little bit past the race buoys, and I pull up, and I pitched, and, you know, look up over my shoulder, and then make my left turn, come around and land. It was pretty interesting. I have no idea what my speed was as far as the timing was concerned, because something had gone wrong with, they couldn't get the times working. So Jack Watson was basically making it up. Poor Jack, he had to sit there all day and just kind of figure out who they were. Poor guy. Because I think he invented the speed trials 2 years earlier, and they worked fine when you have 30 airplanes, but not when you have like 90 airplanes, and it's hot, and it's a long day, and there's just so much going on. So kudos to you, Jack. Nice try, buddy, but, you know, I know you were kind of against the wall on that one. So that was the speed trials.